You will get more money, but you will not get any more time. And you don't know how much time you have. Now, how will you know that you're wasting your time? You will know that you're wasting your time if you can leave your business and or job tomorrow and be happy. You're in the wrong damn job. See, that went over a lot of people's head. See, if you could leave your business or job tomorrow and be happy, you ain't doing what you love. I couldn't leave what I'm doing tomorrow and be happy. Right? So my advice to you, if in fact you can do that, is you go to your business or you go to your job tomorrow, you pack your up and you get out of there. Because you're screwing up that business and you're screwing up your life. Now, what do I know about people who hate what they do? They're mediocre. I've never met a person who hated what they were doing and loved and was really good at it. No. You're mediocre and you need to get out of there. So, to become amazing, you have to reconfigure how you spend your time. To become amazing, you're going to have to change. And what do we know about change? We know that you will never change that which you tolerate, and you will only change when you get angry. Right? Are you angry? You see, Du Bois was angry. Malcolm was angry. Dr. King was angry. In fact, Du Bois was so angry, he left America never to return. Are you angry? Are you fed up with what's going on in this country? I know that Aubrey and Robert are fed up with much of what we see as it relates to business in our community. They're angry. I'm angry, but I'm motivated by a positive anger directed towards positive change. People who are amazing are able to change. What are you doing to change? We must become a different kind of community. This is what we look like. You've seen me show this before. This is what black people look like all over California. It could represent black fraternities, sororities, black churches, black organizations. And what you will notice about these beautiful, educated, money black people, Aubrey, is that everybody's doing their own thing. Caught up in a Eurocentric value of rugged individualism. Survival of the fittest. It's a trick. There is no power here, brothers and sisters. Willie Lynch understood this. This is where all the power is. Whether you're at the center of your own network or part of other networks, this is where all the power is. There's a beautiful African proverb that says that when spiders unite, they can tie up a lion.
Welcome to ESP Speaks. That was Dr. George C. Fraser speaking on cultural complacency and becoming amazing. Happy Black History Month continues. I'm doing this episode today as a part of my contribution to Black history. You all know that I like to deal with subjects that wake us up a little bit, make us think a little bit, touch our hearts a little bit, move us forward a lot. Before I begin, I would like to say thank you to all of my diehard listeners. Dana Townsend, Renee Mickens, Jolie Harris, Maria Serrano. Get well soon, by the way, Maria. I thank you all for hanging in there. Jackie, Leah, Leo, David, John, all of you coming in on a regular basis. It means the world to me. And for the hundreds of listeners that I don't know your names, we see your numbers and we thank you. We see the demographics and we're hitting areas all over the world. And I'm so truly blessed by the fact that you've come to visit us here on ESP Speaks. Right now, you're watching us on Facebook Live. We're also on Twitter, YouTube Live, and IG Live. In the event that you can't watch the live show, we're also available on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Breaker, Radio Public, and a variety of other audible listening tools. You can listen in your car. You can listen on your way to work. You can listen while you work out. But do listen. Please share, share. Because if you enjoy the content, there may be someone in your family or one of your friends that can enjoy it and be enlightened by it as well. I would like to make a special thank you for those of you who are close to me and know what's going on in life right now. Your prayers for the event that's going on in the hospital has touched me, and we are just so grateful for the phone calls and you keeping up, and prayer answers things. And on the other hand, those of you who know more of my public life, you know my number 8 is looking at Broadway. So thank you for all the congratulations on that as well. As I said, please do share to all the like-minded viewers such as yourself, because once again, this might be something that they will enjoy. So jumping right in today, taking a look at the 8 bad habits that's keeping Black America from progressing. I ask you the question that Dr. Fraser asked. What are you doing to change? Are you angry enough? Are we really angry enough to make a change in our society as people of color? American Black people, Cushite people, Asiatic people, African American people, whatever you want to call them, whatever you want to call us. We have been in a struggle with racism for over 400 years. Nobody wants to talk about it, really. Nobody wants to manage it now, really. We're not slaves anymore, physically, but are we? That's another question at hand. At what point are we going to collectively address this as a people? There are these invisible barriers that separate us from opportunity. The barriers are getting higher and higher as walls every day. Still, we press on, defying all odds as individuals. The African American community oozes with brilliance, creativity, and talent. We're still struggling to get a seat at the table, not understanding that if we come to the table as one, we have the ability to build our own table. The one thing that Black America has been convinced that we cannot do is work together as one. We don't hire our own. We don't even want to talk to our own at some point. We're so busy trying to be everything and everyone else, some of us. And then there are some of us who are struggling to pull us all together. But if we could just stop and recognize, if we moved as one, therein lays the power. According to Dr. Fraser, there are 8 bad habits that we have as a collective that prevent us from moving forward as a people into prosperity. Number 1, the lack of cultural vision. Black Americans are not really the best at reinvesting their time, their efforts back into their own community. Quite frankly, we need to get on our own bandwagon. We're so ready to line up with everyone else's cause. As soon as you say Black, people have a problem with it. We are the ticket on top of other people's ticket. Why? If we focus on our resources and we focus on our strength, we will have the ability to move forward as a collective of people. Dr. Fraser cites China in his study. as being a nation that has individuals, but they don't think individually. Everything that they do as a people is solely to promote the Chinese people. They work as one, they live as one, they practically think as one, but it makes China one of the strongest nations in the world. And that would bring us to number 2, our independence. We're independent, but we're not independent with each other. The idea truly is for us to be interdependent. Interdependency is what allows a community to grow. If we are leaning on each other for strength and not going outside of that unit, we will be building each other up with the strength that you have for me and I have for you. Ubuntu, I am, because you are. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is us rewarding bad behavior. Outside of Denzel, Jay-Z, from the old school, you had Bill Cosby. New school, you have Cardi B. We are not investing back into the communities from which we came. All of these multi-mega millionaires, all of these stars, who, yes, we appreciate that you fought your way to the top of the ladder. You have your Oscar, you have your Tony, you're making money. We as a community are glad for you. But you got to look back. Outside of some of those stars that I mentioned, it's not all of them, let's be fair. I'm sure there are others to the list that I didn't mention. But the important factor is there are some of them who have made it and have not looked back to help edify or grow the communities from which they came. We should be angry at that, because that is bad behavior. And we cannot keep rewarding those who will not stop to recognize. And also giving the press attention to those who are not recognizing and going somewhere else to recognize someone else, but not bringing back to our people. Tell you what, they should be put in timeout or ostracized. Because until you're ready to put back into us, we won't be ready to continue to put into you. Number 4, we get caught up in our own pain. And this is a biggie. We rally against the injustices, which is extremely important. The George Floyds, the Breonna Taylors, the Trayvon Martins. We are angry, and we should be. But not just in the moment. We should be propelling for social injustices every single day. Now, this starts in something as simple as your child's PTA. Because if we're showing up, if we're becoming a part of our community boards, if we're becoming a part of our political systems, if we are joining together in block associations and making our voices heard on a regular basis, we don't have to mobilize when something happens, because we are already together and ready to move forward when something happens. How about this? When we start creating that permanent presence on a regular basis, maybe people wouldn't be messing around so much with us. Because we're not taking care of each other, ladies and gentlemen. We got to start at the beginning and move forward. Start becoming a part of the social structure of your own communities. Start creating a presence in your own community that people will not feel that it's so easy for them to just walk in and do what they have to do for their own needs, but they will know that they'll be standing up against a fight when they go into that neighborhood. And then the neighborhood will grow. And then we'll interconnect in the web of neighborhoods, thus building a larger and larger community. We must consistently and creatively start cultivating our presence in our own environment. Number 5, and we are all guilty at some point, overconsumption. What is overconsumption? Well, understand this, $1.1 trillion is what we generate for the American economy on a daily basis. I'm going to say that again. $1.1 trillion is what we as a people cultivate per year in the American society. We are the number one presence in media. We watch 37% more television than any other group. We're 8 times more likely to go shopping, stay shopping, be shopping, and buying high-ticket items. We are 9 times more likely to make purchases in the cosmetic and beauty field. Now, y'all know that's true. We dominate the hair care industry by buying their products. Let me give you an interesting piece of information in that $1.1 trillion. For every dollar of it that goes into other communities, and other being the Caucasian, the white Anglo-Saxon community, every single dollar we equate to 1 cent. They keep $1, we keep 1 cent. I'm going to let you marinate on that for 1 second. The Hispanic community keeps 10 cents. The Jewish community keeps $1.25 of a cyclical dollar going around in their community. And that $1.25 does not leave their community for 6.5 months. How long does that 1 penny that we just eked by in getting stay in a Black community? 2 weeks. Family, it's time to wake. If we were a collective at $1.1 trillion, if we were a collective today of people, we would rank as the 16th largest community in the world. If we were to come together as a country, stepping outside of community, if we built a community that was large enough to be a country, which we can be, at $1.1 trillion per year, we'd be large enough and strong enough to be the 16th largest country in the world. Let that one sink in. That's how much buying power you have. So why is that significant? Other than depressing, other than disgusting, why is that significant? We are the number one country. And don't realize if we decided to shut it down, we have the power to do so. They want to put their knee on your neck. Stop buying. Stay out of Tommy Hilfiger. Now, see, I'm not going to call names yet. Stay out of those high-priced, large-ticket item stores where we can survive without. But it's all about status and keeping up with the Joneses and passing the Joneses. So we got to have those. Y'all are so busy watching stars on TV that have made their own money, and y'all ain't got none. You're still trying to go buy the high-ticket items that they're buying? Nonsense. It's time for y'all to wake up. Dr. Fraser reminds us that we got to get angry. Sometimes it's okay to get angry. Even in the Bible, Jesus got angry. It's okay sometimes to get angry. We should be mad. I didn't say we have to be militant. There's a way to handle the anger. And that's what I'm trying to get you to look at. Martin was mad. Malcolm was mad. And they were mad for a cause. And they organized and came together. See, this is the problem. This is part of the problem. God, the kids that we're raising right now, we're not telling them the history. We're showing them pictures on one day when the holiday. Whenever the holiday comes, everybody stops and looks at pictures. We're not teaching, we're not raising them with these morals. We're not raising them in the story. We're not mentoring them and having them learn how we grew up, how our parents grew up, how other nations had to deal with slavery. Because it's not just here in the United States. That's what I'm talking about right now, because that's where I'm at. But for all of the families that came from West Indian nations who were subject to slavery as well, and we came to this country to better ourselves, only to come here to find a different type of slavery, y'all, we still locked up because we're still thinking like slaves. We still have the Jim Crow separationist mentality. They looking right at you talking about the good old boys club. But we don't want to band together. We get mad at, and you know what? A friend of mine said this on a podcast earlier this week, and this is something that we always used to talk about. These things are designed. When you walk into a Dunkin' Donuts and you see an Indian, when you walk into Little Caesars and the Pizza Huts and the Popeyes fried chickens, and you see a nationality and it's a consistent face in the place behind the counter because they hire their own, we get mad. We go shop there, we go buy their goods, but we get mad. Do you really think that the fact that the Chinese guys are the ones that own all of the hair stores and the place where you go get your hair for your weave and your products, do you think that that is something that was not planned? You thought that it was an accident? Before they even got here, they have councils in their own country that said, listen, you go, you're going to get houses. We're going to help you get a financial foothold. You go and buy this, you go and buy that, you go and buy this, you go and buy that. And we're going to own the whole chain. And you're all going to help each other. And one by one, they come and they live together until they make enough money and you go buy a house, and then we come together and we do the same thing until all of them are set up. And we can't even get down the street and get off of our block without helping each other out. Come on. Come on. We need to sit down and have organized thought. And this is what Malcolm, this is what Martin, these are what these men were trying to do. In order to evoke change, in order to progress forward, we must band together in thought and deed to move this vehicle of justice. There is no other way. So I ask you, when are you going to get angry enough to actually do it? We need to stop talking about it and be about it. You got a current day situation on this right now. A lot of y'all voted for Eric Adams simply because he was a black man. I'm not mad at that. That's not how I play politics. I go look at the background. I got to look to see what's happening with the individual. But okay, he's there now. Can we put some thought of mind together and get a plan and have him move forward with him? Because we got to at some point stand behind each other to evoke the change of what's happening in this city right now. All right, let me get all 8 of them out before I start to individualize. Because I did say this was going to be a quickie and a drive-by of the podcast today. So, number 7. We do not have enough of an emphasis on wealth. Wealth, not money. When you speak of wealth, I'm talking about the long-term interest of what we are doing with our money and in our community. Instead of teaching our kids how to play video games, we should be teaching our kids how to make video games. Instead of buying sneakers that are $200, $400, $500, we should be having our children or teaching our children how to invest in a sneaker company that they can have long-term building and long wealth. Wealth, again, is not about having money. It's about cultivating funds over a period of time that will benefit not only you, your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren will also benefit from what you have done years ago. We also need to learn how to buy property. And the fact that we want our name on something, that is not the way to purchase property. If no one has ever said this to you, when you buy a house, don't put your name on the house. Make yourself a corporation and buy the house in the name of the corporation. And I'm going to do a show on that because there's an even further breakdown to how that is done. But we need to start building ourselves as entities. Because see, they can come and take the house away. They can find any number of reasons to come and take a house from you. But it's a lot more difficult if it's being done to and through a corporation. Like I said, we'll talk about that later. But let's get back to long-term wealth. We need to start investing in our communities, in the people in our communities, in the thought process of our communities, that we will promote and enhance our long-term wealth. And that comes through investing not only in product and corporation, but also investing in the people, the children that we are growing in this community. Because your greatest commodity is your people. This growth process on a long-term basis affects our ability to choose where we live, our ability to choose the schools that our children go to, ability to choose how we teach our children, what is important to be taught to our children. But we have to start thinking long-term. We have to start thinking the long haul. And we have to start changing our mindset on this today. And finally, number 8. Number 8 is huge, and that's why I saved this one for last, because I really want to dig into it and get into the meat and potatoes of it. Your responsibility. We're not taking responsibility. We're busy blaming. We're busy pointing fingers, but we're not taking responsibility. And here's what I mean. Who's minding the village? Who's taking care of the village right now? Let me Let me tell you, I was raised in a way. And again, I say I because those are the experiences that I can give you. I can only speak from where I come from. But nobody's watching the village anymore. We have total men, I'm going to call you out. We have totally dropped the ball on being the stable guide for our young men and our young women. They're not being taught the story. They're not being taught the music. They're not being taught the stories. They're not feeling safe. They're not feeling guided. Women, you're not blameless here either. Because some of us are so busy overextending our energy, trying to fix everything that everyone else has done. And some of y'all are standing there doing nothing because you're too busy being cute. I don't need to say that again, do I? You know what I mean. These children are running amok. Ain't nobody watching over this village. We need to get back to that. When I was little growing up, and a lot of you can identify with this, some of y'all are going to laugh out loud. If you did something wrong in school, by the time you got home to your parents and they came home in the evening, your behind had been beaten 4 times already by 4 different adults. And your mama and daddy ain't touched you or talked to you yet. That's how many people were interested in your growth process. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That doesn't exist anymore. But I tell you this, we need to have a contract with ourselves and a contract with our community that states every single child in our care, no excuses, can get through high school safely, make it to college, at least have the hope of finding a way, because there's funding out there. And if you don't know how to get it, call me. I'll show you how to get it. Because there is no reason that one of our children can't make it to college and go. And don't take any excuses. I'm not going to go. I wasn't planning to go to college. Send all of their asses through school. Because there are people with a college degree working in McDonald's right now. That's how bad the economy has gone to. You're not preparing these children. You're not raising them well. And then you're not preparing them well. And then when you drop dead, you wonder why they living on the street doing drugs. It's your fault. The adults in the Black community right now are not taking responsibility. Let me tell you something. I have put 8 children through my house, and I have never been not one of their friends. You parents are trying to be, I want to hang out with her, and I'm trying to teach, and I want, no. What the hell? What? I have plenty of friends. Y'all better understand yourselves. This is hurting the community. If you're raising upstanding citizens that have goals in mind, and we are teaching them how to get to the end of this race, we will all be better off. But we're not doing that. We should be busy keeping them out of jail. We should be busy turning their heads from drugs. We should be busy giving them other things to do so they don't get involved in the BS that's out there on the streets. No, y'all are too busy giving them everything. This generation of children was raised with so much opportunity and so much I. That's our fault. And we have to find a way to change it, or our communities are going to be suffering worse than they are. Our children must know that there's something greater and that we do hold them responsible. There's no accountability. As we do this, as we reclaim this village, we once again should make a contract with ourselves that every mother, every father not only should raise their own, but we again need to interlock that web. We need to be interdependent, family to family, on each other, and start raising each other's children again. I take responsibility for 3 other children that are not mine in the community of growth. If it's just to have a conversation with them, if it's just, but it happens on a regular basis. For one of them, it's once a month. For 2 of them, it's once a week. You call, you check in, you check up. Their teachers know me better than my children's teachers know me. But by golly, those children are going to make it through high school knowing that they had somebody to care and push. They're going to make it to college. And the day that they graduate, God spare my life, I will watch them walk down and get their piece of paper as if I am watching my own. That is the type of relationship we need to have with all of our children. So adopt one. You have a son, tell him bring his friend. You have a little girl, bring them in the kitchen and bake cookies. We're not doing these things anymore. And we're okay with the iPhone and the iPad and the i this and the i that, and then being online all day and the interaction and in the groups. And do you even talk to your kids anymore? All of these things have to stop. In order for us to reclaim our communities, these things must stop. And we need to start growing our garden again. Our garden of young minds, we need to start growing them again. We need to be the watchful eye in our environment once more and continue to grow our communities for long-term success. Or it's not going to happen. We have the power, but we're so convinced that we ain't got nothing, that we're nobody. Yes, some of you are still up. Some of you are awake. Okay. But now we got to wake the other ones up. Fight ain't over. It ain't over till the fat lady sings, they say. And I ain't hit a note yet. So we still fighting. Remember, if we as individuals start connecting and reconnecting and being those spiders and interconnecting those webs, we can take down this guy. Hold yourselves accountable. Don't give up the fight. Family, if you enjoyed this episode and you thought it was of any value, please do share it. Share it and start a conversation of your own. Share it and create a whole new environment of change through your words, because you can. It really is that simple. Don't be ordinary. Don't settle for mediocre. Because we at ESP Speak, we think you're extra. And on that note, we'll see you next time. Have a great week.